Okay, hi Lindsay.
Hi there. Hi.
Hi, thanks for joining us today for the GiST event. So we're going to talk about your school and education background, if that's okay. So I know you're an engineer now, civil engineer. So we want to know how you got to where you are. So first thing, where did you go to school, and how was it for you at school?
Yep. So I'm from Northern Ireland. So I went to school in Ballymena, which is in County Antrim in
Okay.
Northern Ireland.
And was it good experience for you? Did you enjoy school?
I didn't. I probably didn't enjoy school until I was doing my A levels.
Ah, really? Okay.
I think this was because I had to do subjects I didn't like until then. So then
Right.
after GCSE, then you're able to select 3 or 4 you want to study.
Hmm.
I think I felt I was learning things I didn't want to learn really, or I didn't
Okay.
understand beforehand. Then once I
Yeah.
was able to focus, I was much happier.
Much happier. Okay. So do you think you were academic at school, or did you just kind of get through it? It's like some people are really into school, aren't they? But I don't know.
Yeah, it probably followed the sort of same pattern. So up to GCSE, I didn't really try very hard.
Okay.
I just turned up, and
Yeah.
then
Just got on with
once
it.
I once I was doing my A levels, I put a lot of effort in, and I got good grades. So
Okay. Okay. So you did GCSEs then? Yeah.
yeah.
Could you choose what GCSEs you did? So did you do what sort of mixture
Um,
of subjects did you do?
we had a core section of GCSEs we had to do, and then optional ones that I selected would have been technology and design, additional mathematics, and business studies.
Okay.
So that's sort of then you would do your normal science, geography, no, science, maths, English, French, that sort of thing.
Okay, yeah, the usual sort of mixture. And how did you do at GCSEs? Because you weren't that bothered about school at that time. Did you do okay? Was it sort
Um,
of
yeah, I got 1 A star, 2 A's, 5 B's, and a C.
nice? Okay, so good
So
mixture. But you weren't sort of really into it at that time. It was sort of
yeah, it was just a had to be done sort of
yeah,
attitude.
everyone has to be there. So yeah,
Yeah.
fair enough. Okay, so A levels
Yeah.
were a bit better.
Hmm.
So did you
Yep.
carry on that sort of the design and the math sort of side of things when you did A levels? What did you do then?
Yeah. Yep. So for AS levels, I studied mathematics, physics, technology and design, and business studies. And
Mhm.
then for A level, I dropped business studies. So I just did
Okay.
maths, physics, and technology and design.
Okay, okay. So quite practical and quite sort of yeah, it makes sense that you went into engineering with that sort of interest. So is
Yeah,
that
it
what
was
your
quite.
plan was? Yeah, is that what your plan was at the time? Did you know because you were interested in those subjects what you wanted to do or?
At that time, I probably just knew that was what I liked to study.
Mm,
I wouldn't have thought much further forward. At GCSE point, I had toyed with the idea of leaving school to become a joiner or staying at
okay.
school,
Hmm.
knowing that the only thing I liked to do really was mathematics. So
Yeah.
I stayed on, and then I'm glad I did then and studied those subjects.
Okay. So you would have gone if you were going to be a joiner, so it's quite a
Mhm.
practical, hands-on, design based thing. So that was sort of really your interest.
Yep.
Cool.
So,
Okay. So after A levels, how well did you do in your A levels? You didn't have to tell us exactly, but
oh,
did you do
yeah,
okay?
yeah, I got 3 A's. So,
Nice.
yep.
Okay.
So.
So did you go to university then? Was that the plan? Or
Yep.
was it
So
yeah.
I had applied for civil engineering at a couple of universities, and I had applied for business management or business studies at a couple of universities.
Okay.
So I chose civil engineering at the University of Dundee.
Okay, so you went over to Scotland then from
Mhm.
Ireland to go to university. Okay, so did you do a standard 3-year degree there or did you do anything additional?
Yep, it was a 5 year undergraduate masters, but
Right.
because A levels are different to Scottish Highers,
Hmm.
anybody from Northern Ireland who had certain grades could go straight into second year. So it was a
Okay.
4 year undergraduate master's that I did.
Okay, yeah, because a standard degree is usually 3 years, isn't it? And then you can put your master's on in an extra year. So
Yep.
you can go into a master's degree from the beginning. So you did the full
Yep.
4 years to get the master's. Okay.
Yep.
So what did a civil engineering degree? include? Because some people might not know what civil engineering is compared to engineering, or so give us an idea of the content of the degree and what you studied.
Yep. So the course content sort of followed 6 main modules the whole way through the 4 years. There would have been geomechanics, which is soil, so how the soil and
Right.
earth and clay works.
Okay.
Structures, so how steel beams and concrete forms buildings and forms shapes and structures. Fluid mechanics, to do with how water flows through pipes and systems and pressures. Materials, so that was to do with, well, the materials that are selected for construction, so steel, concrete, plastics, different metals, wood, that sort of thing. So then each year these topics were sort of further developed.
Yeah.
We also had a construction management module then, which was to do with working in teams, managing people, processes, project management. And then in our third year, we did our dissertation.
Yeah.
And then in our final year, we did a group project, which was worth, I think, a quarter of our mark.
Okay. And what was
our
your
final
project
year.
focused on? What was your?
There's a new museum in Dundee, which is the V&A at Dundee.
Okay.
So we had to produce a design for it and plan it and cost it and present our findings, how we would build the museum if we were
Wow.
doing everything.
And that was
So,
as a group project, yeah.
yep, there was 2 engineers in each group and 1 or 2 architects
Oh, right.
who were
Okay.
on a different course, just to see how we think very differently and how we can work
Yeah.
together. So.
And was that sort of particularly to prepare you for the world of work as well? Because it sounds like it would be what you would do in real life almost. So was that a big part of it?
Yeah, it was a good representation. Day to day now, we wouldn't deal directly with architects. We would deal with civil engineering designers, but there
Right.
would be architects involved in their design. So it probably would let us understand the thinking a bit more.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. Okay. So civil engineering in a nutshell, how would you describe that to someone who didn't know what it was?
It's probably everything around you that it's probably making everything around you work. So if there weren't, it's maybe easier to say, if there weren't civil engineers, there wouldn't be any roads or
Okay.
ports or runways for airports or wind turbines or or water. So, pipes to get water to your house and
Okay.
pipes to
So
get waste
yeah.
away from your house. So all of that comes under civil engineering, and then roads and bridges, structures. It's kind of creating the infrastructure for people to live. So
Yeah. Okay. So they're very, very important basically for like designing the world around us and making sure everything works and we've got places to live and places
yeah,
to go and everything works. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I don't
So,
know. I think I knew civil engineering was sort of buildings and roads and things, but I wouldn't have thought maybe it was all the infrastructure like pipes and everything really. So I can imagine. Yeah. So when you're a civil engineer, do you generally concentrate on one area of the so do you either do buildings or roads or pipes, or can you sort of be flexible?
you can be flexible. The geographically, if you want to always build one thing, you'll have to keep moving around the
Okay.
UK.
Can't build a
So
bridge in the same place all the time.
yep. So um, well, my career as an example, then I started in utilities. So we were installing water mains and replacement water mains. So there could have been pipes installed 30 years ago and now they're leaking
Yeah.
or not good enough quality. So it was large schemes to replace water mains through certain areas. So I worked on that. But then my next project was a flood alleviation job. So it was
Okay.
creating flood walls in a river in Belfast to protect houses.
Yeah.
And it also had a greenway aspect. We were building a greenway as well as building a flood wall. So there's a 7-kilometre cycle path.
Okay.
But then my next project was a bridge. And then the one after it was a wind farm. The one
Wow.
after it was a clean water tank, so a reservoir. So
Okay.
the wind farm was in South Wales, the reservoir was in North Wales.
Ah,
Then my next project was a port, and then now I'm back on a bridge. So
wow.
it
So
depends.
it's very varied then, the
Hmm.
projects you
Yeah,
work on. Yeah. And do you have to remember the skills that you learnt to be able to apply them to the new projects each time?
yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's kind of like some processes are repetitive, but the
Mm.
technical aspect will be different.
Yeah.
But in
Yeah.
terms of planning, spending money,
Hmm.
recording, managing people, repeats, but the actual what you're
Yeah.
building changes quite a lot. So it's a lot of different challenges.
Yeah. Well, that sounds good. So it keeps it fresh, I guess, and it keeps
Hmm.
it interesting when it's different projects each time.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Sounds good. So that basically answers my question, sort of how you got to where you are today, because you've sort of gone through, you've worked on lots of different projects, and this is what you're on today.
Hmm.
Brilliant. So we're going to talk to you later and ask you some questions. So
Hmm.
we'll leave it there for now. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
It's